Awesome. Yay, recording works.
I
Hooray.
see that.
Yay.
Yay.
Hooray. Yeah, thanks for being patient. See, this is why I book an hour, even though we only talk for 30 minutes. So, yeah. So, cool. Awesome. So, any last questions?
No.
Awesome.
I'm getting
All right. So, I'm super excited. I get to talk to my pal, the artist, the amazing Jenny Hochschild from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Jenny can cook and make art and do all sorts of crazy stuff that is so wonderful and so inspiring. So, hi, Jenny. How are you?
Hi, Phil. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Good. So, I met Jenny because she was our chef de jour at the Hudson Business Lounge, where I used to be captain co-working there. I used to be there all the time, and I got to know Jenny because she made me good food and always made me smile. And then I find out she is this freaking amazing artist and this just wonderful person. So I am so glad to learn about this today. But tell us, Jenny, how did this, what came first, the cooking or the art, or are they all kind of one thing together with you?
They kind of all happened at the same time. When I was in school in Madison, I was studying graphic design, and I had a part-time job as a cook. So the first place that I cooked at was the Flamingo, and some people listening may remember that place on State Street. It was pretty popular. And then when I graduated, I decided that graphic design was too constricting, and so I've just pursued a little more freedom than that. But I just kept cooking the whole time because I had to pay the bills.
Yeah.
It's good to eat, right?
Yeah, right. Got to pay the bills, right? Got to have somewhere to live and somewhere to eat. So yeah. So
yeah. And I learned how to cook really well along the way, so that was good.
Yeah. So what do you like to cook? What's your favorite?
Oh, I really love pasta. Yeah, all kinds of pasta and soup. So those are the two things that I'm probably the best at.
Ooh, that's cool. Well, that's why you always made soup for us at Hudson.
That's right.
That totally makes sense to me. So you had some wonderful soup. So that's fun. So what's are there any parallels between cooking and design and art and all of this? I mean, talk to us about that a little bit, because I'm really curious.
Well, they're both very creative, obviously, and they both take a little bit of mental research. Like you can take a bowl full of vegetables and make anything out of it. And the same way you can take a palette of paint and paint anything out of it. So it's all a combination of little bits of things that end up with a final piece that's great. You can either eat it or hang it on the wall.
So do you have any pasta hanging on your wall, Jenny? That's the question.
Not at the moment. I did clean my kitchen this morning.
That's funny. That's so cool. So I love those parallels and love how that plays together. So talk to us about first. Let's talk to us about some of the food that you make and how you are, because I know you're very careful about the things that you make, and I don't mean that like you're cautious. I mean like the ingredients. So take us through kind of maybe a recipe or two and how you put that together.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about maybe minestrone. For some reason, that's in my head.
Awesome.
I love minestrone, and I personally make a tomato-based minestrone because I think that the tomato broth gives it a lot of oomph, needs that brings it all together really well. Using fresh vegetables, and in a minestrone, you can use any kind of vegetable you want. So anything that you have like left over or just, so I have some zucchini, I have some eggplant, I have some bell peppers, dice it all up with some onions and a lot of garlic and fresh herbs, and you're good to go. Salt and pepper. Oh, and there's a little hint that I can give anybody. Any soup that you make, if you add just a few dashes of Tabasco at the end, it just brings all the flavors together and makes them all work really well.
Ooh, so a secret ingredient that makes everything work together. So why is that? Why does Tabasco do that, Jenny? Do you know? Is there like some reason, or is this just some magic formula you came up with?
No. Actually, I learned that from a chef that I worked with down in Racine for a few years. I don't know the exact scientific thing about it. All I know is that when I don't use it, I can taste a big difference as when I do. I think it has something to do with the taste buds on your tongue and different places that taste different things, and it just kind of helps bind them all together. So
that's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that. So now I'll have to bust out my Tabasco when I'm cooking. So that's really neat.
Yeah.
I know that. So cool. So that's a simple recipe. It's something we all can do, right? Fresh being important, and I love garlic. Garlic is a great taster, and then something at the end that's surprising and maybe a little bit unexpected that brings it all together. I really like that.
And one very other important thing is that some people, when they make soup, they just boil all the vegetables, but it's really important to saute everything in the pan first together. You can add little bits at a time. I usually start with onions and let those soften or brown if I want them to brown, and then add all the other vegetables or meat if you're going to add meat, which I don't eat a lot of meat. But and that brings a lot of the flavor out in the vegetables, but you don't want to saute them too long so that they lose all their flavor. So you just have to get the right point before you add any liquid to it, and then when it all cooks together, it's awesome. Awesome. That's cool. So yeah, I'm not that great of a cook. I can make a mean steak, and I can probably bake some potatoes. That's about the extent of my cooking. I'm pretty good at the microwave, 90 seconds, keep stuff up, but yeah, not much more. So, but that sounds like a recipe that I could actually do, right? So when it comes to cooking, right, are there some secret tricks or secret tips that you have that are kind of, other than the Tabasco one, that are kind of universal when it comes to being a better cook for yourself or for a couple friends? Oh, I'm losing sound.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're back.
Okay, that's good. So universal tricks, universal tips that work besides the Tabasco one that are always going to help us in the preparation of a good meal for our friends.
If you're sauteing, use a hot pan, very hot pan. Don't be afraid of the sizzle. If you put anything into a cold pan with olive oil, it's just gonna go blah, wilt. Yeah, not so good. Always use fresh vegetables. Frozen ones, no. Never use dry thyme. It tastes moldy. It's not, but it tastes moldy. It's the only dry herb that I ever use is oregano. For some reason, oregano holds up really well when it's dry. Everything else changes flavor, and I just don't care for it. So how's that?
Those are great tips. So especially, again, like I said, I don't cook, so that's good to get a couple insights there that I can use, right, and impress my friends just simply by warming up the pan, always using fresh, and being aware that, things change if they're dry. So that's really helpful. That's really cool.
Good.
So, yeah. So talk to us about this art, Jenny. I love your art. It is so expressive and so colorful. Many of them, not all of them. I know sometimes you paint things that aren't always, that way, but talk to us about the art and how that stemmed from graphic design. Like, what did you learn there, and how did you kind of grow that out into more art?
Well, I learned in graphic design about balance, and I did take painting and drawing courses while I was in school, and that helped me to not just look at what I'm drawing or painting, but to actually see it. And the more you do it, the more you see. So if I look at a tree, I can see all the depth into it, where a lot of people, they look at a tree and they say, oh, it's green. But it's not green. It's a whole bunch of different colors and all different shades of green. And to get that to come out in a painting, you have to know that and really spend some time looking at it. So balance is really important in a composition. You don't want to have like dark here, light here, and nothing else. You want to have balance. You want to have light, medium, and dark. What else? So many things. It's hard to just God, I could blabber on for hours.
Yeah. Well, what about the importance of paint? I mean, is there a paint type that's better or worse for painting? Is there one that's harder or easier to work with? I mean, if I'm as bad of a painter as I'm a cook. So how do I get started? If I wanted to, what's some approachable paint suggestions or painting kind of art suggestions for those of us who aren't as talented as you?
Well, they're just different. I don't think anything is better or worse. There are different properties to all different kinds of paint. So there's watercolor, acrylic, oil, and caustic. Those are the main ones. People who are watercolorists really prefer watercolor. They think it's more forgiving. I think acrylic and oil are more forgiving. I'm not a very good watercolorist. I've tried, and I just can't seem to. I like to be able to manipulate the paint more. Whereas watercolor, you have to, well, you don't know, but watercolor, you have to be very, I'm going to put this here and it's going to stay there. Whereas acrylic paints, you can paint over it and over it and over it. And, you can totally change the way a painting looks just by painting over it. And oil painting, you have to be more specific than acrylics. Either that, or you just have to wipe the whole thing over and start over again. But when you do use oils, you can wait for it to dry. It just takes a couple of days. So I do prefer acrylic over anything, just because I can do a painting in one day and just keep painting over it until it comes out the way it's supposed to be or the way it wants to be.
That's cool. So do you kind of just paint by feel, or what's your process when you're creating a cool piece of art?
I missed that. I couldn't hear.
Oh, what's your process for creating a piece of art? Like, do you just decide to go to the canvas and just start painting, or do you mentioned about seeing before you see, right? So it's not just seeing with your eyes, but you really get that. So what is that process for you?
Well, if I'm painting outside, I will sit and look at composition that I want to paint and make sure that it's going to work. Sometimes I'll take a picture and look at it, or look through a viewfinder just to get the right angles of something that I'm going to paint, get the perspective correct, and do a couple of drawings. I'll do some little thumbnails, which are just little drawings like that. Sometimes 10 of them of the same thing, just so that I get everything in there correctly. Because if you don't start right away with the right perspective, you'll never get the painting to work. It will look off the whole time, and then you might as well just throw it away. So when I paint with oils, it's a little different than when I paint with acrylics. And when I paint outside, I prefer oil, partly because it takes longer to dry. And it's just easier. When you're outside painting with acrylics, they dry so fast that you don't have time to manipulate with your painting. So when I use oil, I'll start with the different lighting. So I'll do a drawing on the canvas, and then I'll put in the lights and dark shading. So 3 to 4 different shades, light, medium, dark, and then somewhere in between, wherever the shadows are and the light hits it. And then I'll start adding in more detail and color. And you just keep going with that. Painting outside is a lot harder than painting in the studio because things change really fast. Like one painting that I did a few weeks ago in the 3rd Ward for the plein air contest, I had everything blacked out, and then I went to put the cars in, and every car was different. So I just went, So then I kind of had to make some things up and just kind of let it go with what it was. But when I paint in the studio and I use acrylics, I put a wash of whatever the base color feels to me. So like if I'm doing a fall forest scene, I'll use a light kind of tannish yellow color, yellow ochre, and then maybe with a little bit of rust added to it, and just get the feel of whatever it is that I'm painting. The color adds a lot of the emotion to the painting. And then I'll put in a drawing, and then I'll start adding in the light, medium, and dark colors, and just build it up and just keep painting over and over until it it builds up and becomes itself.
That's cool. So I like what you said. A couple things I want to pull out there. Perspective. If you don't have the right perspective, your picture is never going to feel right. And I think that's true in business, that's true in life, and that's definitely true in art, right? If we're not looking at it the right way, it's never going to feel right. It's never going to be, to your words, right? It's never going to be its full self. So you're never going to pull that out. I really thought that's a powerful lesson for us. And I also think the great part about art is a lot like business, and that you can continue to paint over it until you get the picture that you want to see, if you use the right type of paint. So I thought that was really good. I like that. And that makes me feel a little bit better. And the fact that you draw, and sometimes you get a little frustrated too as a non-artist, right? I see the blank canvas and I see this masterpiece and I'm like, oh crap, I can't do that. That's really hard. But the way you explained it, how, you sketch it out, you do a couple different looks and you look for that perspective and then keep working at it until it comes out the way that it's supposed to come out. I think that's really instructive for us, Jenny. And I've not thought of art as that approachable. So that's really cool. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I am a firm believer that anybody can do anything if they want to do it. You just have to take the time to learn how to do it. So you could learn how to cook and you could learn how to draw, but your interests lie elsewhere. And so what you do very well. And what I do very well. And it's because I want to paint and I want to cook, and that's what makes me spin.
Yeah.
Right?
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah. Well, we have to have the patience, because with patience comes talent.
Yeah.
We have to work at it. Yeah. Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000 hour rule. And that's, how we have to do something, practice it well for 10,000 hours so that we can become a master of our craft. So that's a great reminder. So if we were going to start somewhere with some of this beautiful art, where would, and whether that's art of food or art of paint, where would you recommend that we start with that, Jenny? Where would you say is a good, just baby step to dip our toe in that art pool?
Well, I think it starts up here with your decision to do it. And then you have to do a little bit of research of, where can I learn how to do this? Can I learn to do this on my own? Do I need a mentor to show me? Do I go and take a class that will give me the basics for what it is, and decide if I take that class and I do well in the class, will I like it? Will I want to keep pursuing this? And I think that's where you would start with anything. It is up here, decide, do I want to do this? And, no, I like to look at art, but I don't really feel like creating it. I think anybody who's really interested in the creative process of art could try using their camera, and take their camera out and just go look at nature and say, what do I like about nature, and try recording it, and just do a whole bunch of photographs. Get a creative feel for it, because photography, I'm not going to say it's easy, because a really good photographer spends a lot of time taking pictures, and a lot of photographs you never see that they take, because they only keep maybe 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100. But it's really fun, and it's just a good way to be outside in the world and kind of get a feel for what you're looking at. To really look at something and take a picture of it, and look at the picture and say, what am I missing? And what can I take in the next picture to make it look better? Yeah. And then go from there.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah, photography is a great approachable way. I like to take pictures, but I don't create art. So I think that's a great start for us. And what's missing out of that picture from what I saw? I think, that's wow. That's great advice. Great advice. So show us some of your awesome art, Jenny. You've got a lot of stuff sitting around here. So just take us through, and if you could, just describe it too, because some people might only listen to the audio. Some people listen to the audio and the video, and some people might just watch. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to let you kind of give us a little tour here of your studio.
Okay. Well, I'm going to show you, first of all, something I'm working on now. And then I'll show you a smaller one it's kind of based off of. And then I'll show you the wall behind me with a whole bunch of stuff and explain what all that is.
Woohoo! Yay!
All right, you ready? Let me know if you can see it, because I'm going to turn my computer and I won't be able to see.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is what I'm working on right now. Can you see?
Lower it down just perfect. There we go.
So this is a scene from the lakefront, and it's the bluff. So it's got a lot of work to do yet. So if you can kind of see that there's a path that goes down this way, and the trees, and the beach is down here. So this is a little past the base drawing. So it needs a lot of detail and depth added to it, and I have the basic lights and darks in there. But I just have to build it all up. So build up the lights, and that will, and then kind of like darken in all the darks. And then it'll give it more depth going this way, so it'll look more like I'm up on the top of the bluff and looking down at the lakefront.
Awesome.
Cool?
Yeah.
And this is a finished one. So that's kind of like where that came from.
Okay.
This was the first one that I did of this. So this is the same area, but a smaller version of it, and in fall. Beautiful. And up here, maybe I should back up and you can see the whole.
Yeah, back up a little bit. That's a great idea.
All right. Oops. Are you still there?
Yep, lower it down a little bit.
My computer is doing some. Hold on. Okay, back. Lower it down.
There we go. That? Yep, perfect.
Okay, so up in the top here, you can see that's the one with the cars.
Uh-huh.
That is in the 3rd ward. And that one is in oil, is this one down here of the Home Bridge. Those are the 2 that I did for the plein air contest down in the 3rd ward last July. And down, can you see that one down on the table?
Yes, I can.
That is a wooded scene on a kind of a dirt road that was one day on the way to Beaver Dam when I was going to drop off some artwork for a gallery there.
Very cool.
I have the art museum. I call that cathedral because I think that the art museum is a cathedral to artists. It's one of my favorite places to be.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. And then up above are 2 small ones. Are those in there? Yeah, those 2 little ones up there.
Yep.
Those are, I had a large canvas that I had painted, and I never really liked the painting. And so one day I just decided I was going to take it off of the stretcher bars and cut it up. So I got about 8 little paintings off of this big canvas of ones that I liked, and I framed them.
Wow. So you cut up I want to pause there. So you took your big art piece and you cut it up into little ones. So how, that likely wasn't the plan when you started it. So how does it feel to kind of destroy and then rebuild a piece of art?
It felt pretty good, actually. It was, I'm going to turn my camera or my phone or computer around.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So it was just kind of, I didn't feel bad about it because I really didn't like the painting that I had done already. And it was either paint the whole thing over again, but I was looking at it and there are all these elements of it that I really liked, but as a whole, it didn't work. But all these little elements turned out really well. And so I could see in that big painting that these little bits would make really nice little paintings. And so it was okay.
That's cool. So you looked at it and you saw the good, even though you didn't love the whole thing and you didn't throw it all away. You just chose the parts that were still useful to you and then started again on another painting.
Yeah.
Cool. That's really neat. So, wow. So what else do you do, Jenny? How else, what else are you doing to enrich the world? Because I know these are just two things that you do, but I know you do a whole lot more. What else you working on? What else you playing with?
Well, I have been taking a yoga class since December, and it's I've for a long time I've been done meditation and doing some mind body work. My stepfather teaches classes in mind body. He's been into that for a long time, and he kind of got me started in how that can enrich your life. And so he also got me interested in yoga. He started taking it and found this place that with an instructor that is very spiritual, and the connection between the mind and the body is a very healthful style of living. And it's helped me greatly in all areas of my life. Physically, mentally, with my job. I went through a period, I don't know if anybody from Hudson will hear this, but I went through a period where I was very unhappy having a job. And that's helped me a great deal to get past that and say, I have a job. I need to have a job right now, and I want to be happy where I am. And so yoga has helped me with that. It has helped me physically, and it's helped me with my art. So it's a reflection on life in general. So it helps you pay attention to your body, but it helps you pay attention to your environment and where you're at in life, and balances things out. So I'm an advocate for yoga. I think anybody can benefit from it, and anybody can do it. They're all different levels, and you don't have to be a level 4 yoga person. You can be the very basic one, and it will still benefit your life. And it's just a kind thing.
Cool. And unexpectedly, it helps your job and your art, which I think is really neat, and how that mind-body connection, sometimes we take that for granted, or sometimes we don't think about it. And the fact that you're being intentional with it, I think it's wonderful that you're seeing some fun results and some results that you didn't expect.
Yeah, me too. I feel good about it.
Good. That's great. Cool. So we learned about cooking and yoga and art. So Jenny, you're such a wonderful, unique person to me. I always enjoy our interactions. How do people find more of you? Where can they get more of your art, and maybe purchase a piece and see some of the places that you're displaying? Because your things they're so different from how my perspective on the world, which is one of the things that I really enjoy. So share how we can find you.
I do have a website, and I can pass that on to you later on. I'm showing right now at St. Nicholas Hospital in Sheboygan. That show goes for 2 more weeks, and that is a fundraiser for the hospital. The hospital is a nonprofit organization, and so 3 or 4 times a year they do these art shows, and 40% of the sales go to the hospital. So that's a good thing. You're helping your art community, and you're also helping the nonprofit hospital, which does good things. I'm also showing, I was at the Pleasant Cafe in Milwaukee on Pleasant Street in Jackson. That closed just a couple weeks ago, but I'll be back there again probably this fall. Yay!
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're really nice people, and it's such a nice place to be. This coffee shop is it's true to its name. It's very pleasant. It really is. I show frequently at the Beaver Dam Artists Association at the Steeple Center. It's a really nice organization. The director is just a lovely person. And I am looking for some other galleries. Oh, I've shown my art at Tess Cafe actually it's a bistro. Tess is on Bradford, just off of Oakland. I always confuse Oakland and Oklahoma. But I've had artwork in there for 2 years, and I'm hopefully going to be changing some of that over soon. Yeah, lots of stuff going on there.
Cool. And your website is what? mjenniferart.com, is that right?
mjenniferhochschildart.com.
That's right. Yep. So we'll put a link in there, mjenniferhochschildart.com. Jenny, it's so great to spend time with you today. Thanks for sharing some of yourself with us and teaching us how to cook and create art and the power of the mind and body. So fun. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.